This podcast is brought to you by Ideate and Execute. Do you want to drive innovation in your organization, futurize your enterprise, ideate massively valuable new products, or execute them to market? Then contact us today at ideateandexecute.com and get started.
Why listen to the past when you can listen to the future? Welcome to the Think Future podcast, broadcasting from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. We focus on innovation, startups, and the future, not necessarily those and not necessarily in that order. Here's your host.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Think Future. My name's Chris Kalabukas, and once again, we're coming at you live from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. We're talking innovation, startups, the future, not necessarily those, and not necessarily in that order. In matter of fact, I was thinking I may not want to talk about the future at all, but I digress. If you're watching on YouTube, smack that subscribe button and hit that bell so you can be notified when a new show comes online. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast service, please subscribe and please drop a note on Apple Podcasts. I'd greatly appreciate it. Utopia. What is it about a positive vision of the future? What is it about human beings working together, living together, being together without conflict that really annoys people? Why is it that dystopia is so compelling to people? I mean, I could give you thousands of examples of this, but it's something Gene Roddenberry wanted to do. You know, I'm a big Star Trek fan. Gene Roddenberry wanted to show his ideal future, and in his ideal future, human beings would not be at each other's throats. Human beings would work together, no matter what their race were, or no matter what their gender was, no matter what their sex was, no matter what they were, no matter what their religion was. People would be working together for the common good. It was a utopia. He envisioned a utopia where mankind, where human beings worked together, and maybe the aliens working against the aliens. That was some source of conflict, but within the human beings. And he tried to do this with the Next Generation too. First couple seasons of the Next Generation, when he was still around, he wanted to show cohesion amongst the crew. The human beings had evolved beyond their differences. That at least in the Federation, in Starfleet, that it was utopia. It wasn't a dystopia, it was a utopia. But for some reason or another, we don't like utopias. I mean, why is it that human beings are drawn towards dystopian futures? I mean, there's tons of dystopian science fiction out there. There's tons of dystopian movies, books, TV shows. World has ended. World is awful. It's annihilated. Aliens are going to come down and they're going to destroy us. How often have you seen a utopia depicted in any kind of fiction where it's actually a good thing? There's not some sinister menace underneath, you know, eating people, turning into people into Soylent Green or anything like that. It's just a utopia. Things are great. The human beings have evolved to a point in time in the future where things are great. I mean, even Kirk said it once. Do you remember This Side of Paradise? There was this episode, This Side of Paradise, where they ended up on this planet that was so weird because it put out all this radiation. And according to all the radiation that this planet was putting out, or the sun was putting out of this planet, every human being on that planet would have to undergo some kind of degradation. Something would have hurt them. It was like radiation sickness. But for some reason, everybody on the planet was healthy, was incredibly healthy. And as it turned out, there was some kind of spore that everyone was affected with. And when people were infected with the spore, not only did they start feeling happy, start feeling utopian, they got healthy. All their cancers went away. All their health issues went away. So not only were they super healthy, they were very happy. So people were healthy and happy on this planet. And it was all because of these spores. that had infected the people on the planet. And of course, what happens? Kirk comes in and says, listen, man wasn't meant to be like this. Man wasn't meant to live in paradise. Man was meant to scratch and war and fight for all moments of freedom. Just having paradise given to them, it's not a thing man wants. Do you think that's true? Do you think we all want the struggle? Do you think all human beings want to struggle? Or do we really want utopia? Do we prefer to be in a struggle, a constant struggle to survive, to live, to grow? Or do we want the world around us to support us, to help us to flourish? I mean, I don't know about you, but I would love to live in maybe not a full utopia, but something better than what we have today. I mean, there's places in the world that are better than others. This is true. And there's systems in the world that are better than others. This is true. There's systems in the world that are more aligned with nature and ones that are less aligned with nature. There's human nature and there's the evolution of human nature. So why is it that none of us feel that we're worthy of a utopia? Is it a religious thing? Is it a Bible thing? Is it because we were thrown out of the Garden of Eden? Because we ate the forbidden fruit? Why is it that we feel that utopia, a true utopia, cannot be built here on Earth? Why aren't we striving towards building a utopia for all humankind instead of trying to fight amongst ourselves? If you think about it, we could have been there. We could be where we want to be. We could be in a more utopian place if we just will it. If we just take the actions to become more utopian, to build that utopian world. And I think it is because we have to decide what it is. What do we feel? What is there a common thing that all human beings believe is good? Is there a common world that we'd all like to live in, that we'd love to pattern our world after? And why don't we all work towards that world, the world of all humans flourishing, and not some humans flourishing and others not flourishing? Can we build that kind of world where, like in Roddenberry's Future Utopia, in the post-scarcity world, can we build a world where we don't have human beings at each other's throats all the time? Can we build a world where we can all just get along? And I don't think it's specific to countries or political systems or whatever. It's something human beings have to decide. We have to decide amongst ourselves that we can be better, that we can build a utopia. And not only do we want to build a utopia, we want to live in more of a utopia. We want to throw away our dystopian visions, and we want to say to ourselves, we want to build a world that's better for everyone, all human beings. We just need to make that decision, and we need to work for it, and we have to fight for it, and we have to give up our petty little battles amongst ourselves and work towards the flourishing of the entire human race. Are we up to the task? Do we want utopia? Do we feel utopia is good? Do we feel that human beings deserve a utopia? That's it for me for today. See you next time, and until then, don't forget to think future.